G'day viewers, my name's Graeme Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists in Australia do what they do.
G'day viewers. Well, we're going to see a young lady today called Rebecca Phillips. Rebecca's a really talented wildlife artist and we're going to go in and spend the day with her and watch what she's doing.
Hi.
G'day Rebecca, how are you? Can I come in?
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
What you working on? Well viewers, I'd like you to meet a lovely young woman called Rebecca Phillips. Now we're going to be spending the day with Rebecca and she's a fabulously talented wildlife artist, and you've just informed me, or you're about to inform the viewers, that we're going to be painting the green tree frog today.
We are.
That'd be great. So how long have you been actually doing your artwork for?
About 7 years now.
Oh great, great.
Yeah.
You're obviously really enjoying what you're doing and
Love it.
exposing yourself to the world. Obviously that's what this is about as well. The young lady's exposing herself to the whole of Australia. But we're going to sit down and go through the process with you today. I'm going to ask you some questions as I normally do. The viewers I think are always interested in what you have to say as far as your ability is concerned.
Yep.
And then we'll go through and we'll actually see how you create this sensational picture today.
Excellent.
Let's get into it.
Yep.
All right, Rebecca, you've had a really interesting past as well. I mean, when I was reading your bio, your grandmother was an artist as well, and obviously influenced you a great deal. And
She did.
I saw that Frederick McCubbin and that whole aspect of your grandmother and those influences had a lot to do with your creativity now. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
My grandmother lived with us when I was about 10, and just seeing her working in the oil paints was just, I used to love just watching her for hours, just, creating a piece.
Yeah. And what got you involved in the natural history or animals? Because you really have done a lot of travelling with your family, haven't you?
We have. We've
Yeah.
done a lot of travelling, and from little I've always loved animals. I've always been one of those people who've really connected with nature, and it's just something I wanted to express in my artwork.
So, I mean, as we always do, we screen in a lot of the artist's work as we're obviously talking, and you can just see some of the landscapes and also some of the wildlife that Rebecca has done, and it's just superb stuff. It really is. But today we're going to sit down and paint a green tree frog, which is going to be exciting to say the least, because they're obviously a common animal around, but also quite a beautiful creature as well. Now, you use chroma interactives, don't you?
I do, yes. Yep.
And generally, when you start this, a lot of artists do this, and we've actually had artists on beforehand that actually do this, but you'll grid your work as well.
I do, yeah.
You also work outside as well. You've got an outside studio. Does that sort of really help you get close to nature? Because we noticed before that you've got butcher birds that come down and keep you company. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they even landed on my easel the other day. They decided that was the new perch. So
that's just wonderful. It really is. I mean, it's just
visitors.
Great to be outside and have that atmosphere going as well.
Absolutely.
But let's make a move on what you're going to do today. And generally, as you just said, you've got a canvas here. We start to grid this and then build it from there, do we?
Well, I'm actually going to put a base colour down first, and then grid it, and then transfer my sketch onto there with some watercolour pencils.
Sounds sensational. Let's go and have a look at this.
Okay.
All right, well, I was just looking at this canvas and I've just noticed that it's really actually quite well made and put together, and I was actually noticing that it looked as though it was
linen.
It's linen.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of artists just sort of simply go to the store and buy their canvases pre-stretched. This is obviously a pre-stretched canvas.
It is.
Who actually makes this?
This is Acrylic Art.
Okay.
Yeah, and they do a really sturdy canvas.
Yeah, it's really well put together. But obviously, see that they're really creating quite good linen canvases is a huge benefit, and you really do see it in your work as well, don't you?
You do, and it's good to have that sturdy surface for working on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
We've uncovered the original sketch that Rebecca has done, and as you can see, she's actually sort of gridded this out just to give her. I mean, you'd probably refer back to this as you go along, would you?
I do, yeah. It just reminds me of where I'm going. So.
Yeah, and obviously you've got your basic colours made out.
Yep.
And I always think it's great to do a draft sketch. I mean, I do a lot of draft sketches myself, even if they're monotone, even if they've got a little bit of colour in them, because it really does help on the journey of when you're trying to put together a particular piece.
Absolutely.
You work flat when you do this.
Yep.
So, I mean, when you're painting, you work on the easel.
I do. Yep.
Okay, but this is how we grid.
This is just to get started. Yep.
Okay. Well, let's make a start on that. We'll have a look at that.
Okay.
So from here, you're going to gesso the canvas.
I am. Yeah. I'm going to tint the colour as well.
So what colour are we going to tint it with?
Just a little bit of the cobalt blue.
Okay. And then you just mix that with the gesso?
Yes, about half and half.
And you roll it on?
Yep, straight on.
Okay, because a lot of people just sort of go to the whole trouble of painting it on, but she's going to roll it on today.
Yeah. I need to do the sides as well.
Lovely.
Well done.
Lovely. Okay, Beck, from here, I think what Rebecca's going to do is she's going to grid her picture in comparison to what she's got here with her original photo. You took this photo yourself, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Okay, and then from there she's going to transfer it onto the canvas. So from there, you've obviously measured this out beforehand.
I have,
to some degree.
I've got 5 centimetre grid here, but to get it in the right location on the canvas, I'm actually going to bring it out 8 centimetres to start with, because that feels right there.
Okay.
So, and then take it to match the grid, the 5 centimetres from there.
Okay, Rebecca, you've got it up on your easel, and what you're going to do now is start to grid it out.
That's right. Start with the general outline, and I'm just looking at the outside shape to start with. I'm just going to use a watercolour pencil, because I find that's really handy just to then rub out any lines that I don't want. I can just wash out with a rag.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Come straight off the
doesn't have to be there at all then?
No.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I do actually like to ignore the drawing after I've, being completely accurate. I'm not looking for it to be perfectly accurate, but in the beginning, I don't want people to be distracted by something out of proportion, so I like to work off this to begin with, and then I put my own kind of creative license on it afterwards.
Okay.
You get some things that are surprising, because his leg is right at the front. It's looking quite large, and it's tempting to not draw it quite as large as it is.
Sure.
But this is the part of the painting that I'm really looking to accentuate, because he looks like he's leaping off and just about ready to move. So I really want that to come through in the final piece.
What we might do is we'll just let Rebecca do her drawing for a while, and we'll sit back and watch what's going on. Well, as you can see, viewers, Rebecca's just about got to the stage where I think she's almost about ready to move on to put some colour on. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
So, you did explain this to me beforehand, but I think it's just quite unusual that Rebecca actually keeps her paints once she's mixed them, which makes perfect sense, of course. But you keep them in a little tackle box.
I do, in my fishing tackle box, yeah.
That's great. And
Yeah.
you've obviously just siliconized these edges in here.
Yeah, I pop some silicone in the gaps
Yeah.
just so your paint isn't draining from one side to another side.
Sure.
But with the waterproofing, it stays sealed up airtight. So
That's just great. So the air doesn't get in, so your paints don't dry out.
Yeah.
Acrylics do have the tendency to dry quite quickly. I mean, you obviously can get formulas that will bring them back, but this is a great idea.
I just spritz them and they stay fine.
That's incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's start mixing some paints then.
Cool. Okay, so I'll put probably my warmer colours towards the back.
Yeah.
And give myself room to do some mixing.
Obviously, you enjoy working with the interactive colours.
I do. I find that bit of extra working time for me, again, being busy and having to come and go, that works really well and gives me some blending time.
And you've obviously got a pretty good sense of how your colours are going to go, if that's the case, because
I do.
you know, you just sort of, you put the exact amounts in that you need to.
I've
to
had a
make it
bit of a
work.
play as
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
So I've had a bit of a play with my colours and just
Aha! There you go.
worked out what I wanted to do
There you go.
beforehand.
Okay.
So I trialled some greens and darks and didn't really like that, but I'm liking where this is going. So.
Oh, okay. As you can see, viewers, you really don't need a huge amount of colours to build up some pretty dynamic looking shades as well.
Mixing up the Prussian blue and the alizarin for my dark.
For the darker. No black, it's just simply Prussian blue and alizarin,
That's
which
right,
is going
yeah.
to give you a really dark colour, because black
Yeah.
really absorbs that colour,
Yeah,
doesn't
and
it?
it's just got a bit more life in it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a bit more life in the shadow and the dark. A little bit of white and
Okay,
some paler colours as well. I add a bit of slow medium as well.
yeah.
Just pop that in all of them actually, just to give me that bit more working time.
Oh, that's a great idea. And it really just sort of staves off the acrylic from going off, doesn't it?
It does, and the spritzer as well. I just do that when, especially outside, and on a breezy day, just to keep them from drying out too quickly.
Sure.
I do end up with lots of different mixes in here. I've got different grades of green going right through, which is great because then I know exactly where I'm going with it as I'm painting.
So now from here you've mixed your palette
Yeah,
and we're about to go and put some paint on this canvas.
we are, yeah.
This is the exciting part.
I'm just going to block in. I like to work from the foreground to the background, and this is the main focus, so I want to get him right to begin with.
And I was just watching over there, you've got that little tray with
Yeah.
the water in it. That's actually a pretty cool idea because it sort of enables you to drain a lot of the excess
It
paint out of you.
does.
And you just
The
use
little
it.
ridges
Yeah.
in the tray drag the paint out as you're cleaning your brush, so it's
Yeah.
another little hardware store little trick
It's great, isn't
that I
it?
really like. And again, if I walk away,
Yeah.
which happens all the time, get distracted, my bristles aren't standing on end in a
Sure.
jar.
And obviously your lines, as you said, they're watercolour pencil.
Absolutely.
They just get picked up as you walk through the picture as well.
They do. And if they don't get picked up, I'll then at the end I will actually wash off any lines that I don't want
Okay.
before I take it to the next level.
And I always find great fascination when it comes to this part, that it's so relaxing to sit down and watch people paint.
It's as good as meditation. You do lose yourself completely in what you're doing, and it's a great thing for finding that bit of peace, you know.
Oh, lovely. Sharp line. So you're just using the one brush to block in?
This is probably one of my favourite brushes. I've got this in the 2 and the 8.
Yeah.
I have a lot of brushes, but I do tend to only use a handful, 3 or 4 at the most, really.
Sure.
So it's quite thin, the first layer. And I don't really want lots of brush strokes showing to begin with. But I'm really happy for them to show through at the end, you know. I'm wanting it to look like a painting. this red streak through the leaves. I like to always have my leaves here so that I've got some of the actual plant that I'm working on.
So your grandmother was obviously a big influence in what's going on, and did she teach you much about to do as far as the work was concerned?
She did actually. She had us do oil paintings, so I did my own little oil painting when I was about 13 years old.
Yeah.
She took me through some of her sketching that she had done, a course, and just learning about perspectives.
Rebecca's really moved on and mapped a lot of her base colours down on this, but you've obviously got a situation now where you wanted to get rid of the grid lines.
Yeah, ready for that.
How did you want to go about that?
I'm just wet rag, just nice and easy. Just all the lines that I don't want, will just wash off now. Yeah, I'm going to start working on the background. I'm going to change it quite a bit actually, darken it and push it back with some cooler colours. So,
okay.
Yeah. I'll put some of that blue back in because I also want spots of light to be shining through still.
Sure. So what, as far as painting the natural world, I mean, your landscapes, one of your landscapes at the back here is just beautiful.
Thank you.
You can almost walk into it, look like a photograph. What would your favourite animal be?
It's probably a bit of a toss-up between the frogs and the birds, but the birds have got a special place in my heart, I guess. I spent time when I was growing up paddling up the Tweed River actually, and I used to watch the birds, and it would be just a wonderful way to wind down at the end of the day. And I used to see the kingfishers nesting in the mud banks.
Oh, wonderful.
And if I had the tide with me, I used to be able to come up quite close to them and they wouldn't be bothered by me being there. So it was really great, and that was when I really started to really have that connection to nature and the birds. And
it's continued on into your adulthood.
It has.
Well, and I think in many senses that the world is as fast as it's going is, I think, trying to look very carefully upon the natural world and realise that we're not outside of it. We exist within it, and
absolutely, we're all connected. And that's something I try to do with my art is to kind of build a stronger connection to that, natural world that we're all a part of.
Sure.
Some of us have got that connection already. Some of us are maybe a little bit disconnected, and I think it's something that we all really need. We're all part of it. And I find a lot of peace with just being outside, being, where I can see trees and hear the birds, and, out here I'm hearing the birds all the time. And
no, it's wonderful. And your little pet butcher bird that comes in the mornings?
He's a lovely little visitor.
Yeah,
he's a regular visitor, yeah. I'm going to start adding his sunlit spots, so that's probably the first thing that I'm going to start working on.
Which will really pop it out, won't it?
Yeah, a bit more work on his shadows thrown across the leaf, but really need him to be popping off.
Okay, well let's see you have a go at that. That'd be great. I know that you've got your own website. What actually is the details of your website?
It's Rebecca Phillips Art.
Okay.
And that's a website with a blog, so I talk about what projects I've got going, where my work is, where it's exhibited at. So that's the place to find out what's happening for me.
Sure.
And it's great too because I do a lot of networking online. I've got a lot of friends from all over the world really who inspire me every day with all the things that they're doing, and we share our work, and it's great. It's a great online community to be part of. So.
And your husband Adam is really a professional networker, isn't he? That's what he's extremely good at. So it must be really handy for you.
It is. Yeah. It is. He's done so much work for me on my blog and helping me get it going. I wouldn't have known where to begin. So it's been very lucky to have my own social media manager.
Absolutely. He just happens to be the man you're in love with as well. So.
Yeah, it's very handy. So
I think that's great. That's sort of really what we're doing at Colour in Your Life as well. There's a lot of unanswered questions as far as the artists are concerned, and you know, we've got a team of people that is extraordinarily experienced in what they do, you know, internationally and nationally. It's a fantastically green painting, Rebecca. I do know from personal experience that green's very difficult to work with, but you've really done a great job there with it. So, you know, do you enjoy painting with green? Because there's a lot of it in your pictures as well.
There is. The greens and the blues I do tend to work with a lot.
Yeah.
I think maybe because I've taught myself along the way, I haven't really developed a fear of working with the greens. So I just jump in and I just do it. So I think I try to keep it as natural and earthy looking as I can.
Yeah.
And I just go for it. And I think this painting, I really wanted to add in some of the dramatic kind of warmth. So, you know, working with the quarter-line leaves gave me that flash of that beautiful red through it.
You've gone from those bigger brushes to this tiny little brush.
4 zeros.
And you're just really sort of building up some highlights. Now here we go, we've just got these tiny little brushes and she's starting to work on all the little crevices and the little veins in the iris to bring that up. And so you can sort of see the development of this thing. It's just sort of how it's starting to come out of the picture. Oh, with this little bit of yellow. Oh, look at that. And you can just see that eye starting to come to life. It's just great. So the beauty about art, it was just a blank canvas before, but Rebecca's now turning this thing into a three-dimensional shape, which is just wonderful. All right, Beck, well, it's been an amazing day with you. What are you going to call this picture?
Well, we were talking about all the greens, so I'm thinking green with envy might be the way to go.
That sounds like a great title for it. And it's a fabulous picture, and I will realise that you're going to, you know, do the rest of the work that needs to be done to get this where it needs to go. But, you know, we're almost there, but we've spent a great day with Rebecca putting this together. It's just wonderful to see the whole process of what this woman can do. And then you're getting down to these fine details, which are just great. But I'd really love to thank you for having us here today.
Oh, thank you for coming. It's been great having you here.
It's just been great. You know, once again, an extraordinary talented human being on Colour in Your Life. And as I've always said, if you want to see more of these artists, you can come to www.colorinyourlife.com.au and see Rebecca and more of her work and a lot of the other talented people that are in there. But until we meet again, remember, make sure you put some colour in your life. Well, viewers, we've got some really exciting things coming up in the next couple of months in the art world. We've got Art Expo on in Brisbane, Sydney and Canberra, July, September and October. Now, the Brisbane one is on at the Convention Centre from the 13th to the 15th. Now, come along, there's workshops, there's seminars, you can meet the Colour in Your Life team, buy some art, learn some things, you'll have a great time. We'll see you there in Brisbane.
Mm-hmm.